Hello and welcome to another episode of the TF Cast. This is episode number 31.
With us today, we have Shawn Weigel of 38th Street. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what's going on at 38th Street, Shawn.
Hey, Shawn Weigel from 38th Street Photographer, local Mankato photographer here. Just currently photographing current events and other cool stuff.
And you've got that broken up into 38th Street Media and 38th Street Photography, right?
Yep.
Can you just right off the bat tell us a little bit about the separation there?
38th Street just started as a normal landscape page, and then I started photographing concerts, so I started putting everything on a separate page. So that became 38th Street Media. And then everything I do with current events, protests, riots, anything media related goes to that media page.
Cool. That's actually the music and landscape is how I first became aware of what was going on.
Yeah.
Two things. You were coming into Red Rocks and shooting some concerts, but most notably the pothole calendar.
Correct.
That was the first thing where I was like, oh, I kind of like put those things together right there. Yeah, that was a really wildly different time, like to think like that was the thing that everyone was talking about. What year was that?
That was 2019 when that started.
Oh yeah, that was.
And it, for those who aren't familiar, right? It started out as just like there was a pothole at Burger King, I think.
Correct. Yep.
And you photographed it, and then what happened after that?
One rainy night, I was bored sitting at home, and I saw these couple of pages pop up about Burger King, so I'm like, I'll go check it out, and looked at that pothole filled with rain. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a cool shot, and I just posted it, and blew up from there. I'm like, cool, maybe. And then people started giving suggestions, the next potholes, and the next potholes. I'm like, might as well keep doing this every day for a while.
I mean, that Burger King pothole was really something. Like describing it as just a pothole for the uninitiated, it was like a suspension crushing monster divot in the earth. It was no mere pothole. But that was actually really cool, just on account of how much got done. Like it was memed and then cut out, and then like it actually changed. Like they fixed it. That was really weird.
Was it the social pressure that they were like, all right, I guess we got to handle it?
Over like the 38 potholes I photographed, 22 of them got fixed within 2 weeks of me photographing them.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's cool.
That's like real change.
Yeah, social change here, folks. This is how you do it.
I mean, speaking of, and like getting familiar with your work there, like we actually kind of got to know each other a little bit, just running into each other live streaming. And, well, we stay in Mankato. You do quite a bit of traveling. Like, just tell us a little bit about some of the places that you've traveled to do work live streaming.
I've been to Kenosha, Milwaukee, Mankato a lot. Mostly stay in Minneapolis and St. Paul area. Did one protest in Des Moines. But I kind of just gravitate to that Minneapolis, St. Paul area because that's like the heart of everything that's started.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a little bit important to us to like, go with what you know too. Like it kind of feels weird to like travel to something for media attention. Like when it is your home, it's your thing,
Right.
But what was going on in Des Moines? I didn't even hear about that one.
It was just a small, George Floyd protest. Shortly after it all kicked off, it was, I think, 40 people. I just had a friend photographing there, and I went with him.
Oh, cool. How did things change for you during that time when you started really live streaming? Like, were you live streaming at all before?
No.
Okay.
The first time I live streamed was May 27th, because it was 2 days after the George Floyd murder. Mm-hmm. And I just went down there. I had left work. I asked my boss very politely. I'm like, I need to leave. I need to go see this, because I'm sick of media telling me what's going on. I want to see it with my eyes. And then so I'm like, if I want to see it, I know a bunch of other people want to see it. So I just went down there. My phone was almost dead. All my camera batteries were dead. So I was just lucky enough that everything charged quick enough in the car, and I just went on my way. And ever since that, I only stream if there's not many other streamers out there, because I like to focus photography.
Mm-hmm.
But that was my first time ever going live with anything.
That's cool. Were you tuned into other streamers before you decided?
Not at that time, no.
Okay.
I didn't feel like I saw a whole bunch of streamers. Like that was a big change. Like I remember it had to have been after George Floyd, where like when I heard something was going on, the first thing I would do is I would look for a stream. I would go to either YouTube or Facebook, and I would go to the live tab and just type in the city.
Yep.
And that's what I wanted to see. Because it is. You do get to see it with your own eyes to some degree.
Yeah, well, there's something really unusual about people not being able to go out generally, and then a lot of people being out protesting, and a lot of misinformation about what might have been going on in those places. So being able to tune into someone who was there was, I don't know, like really invaluable. And so I know that's why we started doing that too around here, was that like there just was a lot of misinformation or uncertainty about what was happening. And even for people who were there, I think there was some of that. So having a little bit more clarity for people to just know what's going on in their home area, it's really nice that we can do that.
Yeah, I always try to pay attention to the streamers that don't talk a whole lot. So that way you're just seeing with your own eyes. They show you what's going on. They don't give you, they'll tell you just the basics. They don't tell you which way to lean. Those are my favorite types of streams.
I agree. And especially because people of both sides need to see what's going on. Like, I know that the majority of the people who pay attention to what I say at all are left leaning.
Yeah.
But like, I don't need to convince those people of most things. And if we were to get in an argument, like within that sphere, we would be arguing about something specific. When I want someone to come over to my side of the issue, I'm trying to convince them that like human rights are important.
Right,
you know, like that is more valuable work. So like if I see people in my stream giving me hate, like I want that kind of like it hurts a little bit, but you know they're being exposed, and that is should be a good thing. I hope, you know.
It's kind of what I like about my page is I started off with landscapes, and the whole pothole thing got me a lot of following. So I have a lot of mixtures of followers, very left, very right, very centered, and people that don't care at all. So like I put that all in one, and so I get a lot of talking in my threads, which I like.
Did you, Jacob mentioned the word hate in comment kind of form. Did you get any of that? Where you had like some toxicity?
Definitely gotten a lot of hate in the last couple of months. A lot of hate.
Yours are worse than ours. Like I've seen some for you where it's just like vitriol in the comment section.
Yeah. I get a lot of messages that get deleted quickly, and yeah, to the point where I've invested heavily in protection, and I got bulletproof vests, you know, your plate carriers, ballistic helmets, and stuff like that when you gotta go out now into some of these things.
Yeah, I mean, if people who know who you are, you got to do what you need to do to feel safe.
Yep.
And I've seen some where people are pretty confrontational. Like I saw the one you were up at the governor's mansion for the Line 3 protests, and like when like somehow a group of Trump supporters had been told that there was a protest that was going on there too, and they thought it was like their friends.
They both scheduled a protest at the same time. So like the Patriots started off at the Capitol and then went to the governor's mansion where the Line 3 protest was happening. I don't think either of them knew that they were both going to be there at the same time, which I did because I followed both pages. So like I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah. And that was like an openly contentious one. Like lots of times it's normally just people, you know, living their slogans out. But, you know, people were very close, and there hadn't really been any police presence there or anyone, you know, gating the groups off from one another. So, you know, all things considered, I think that one went really well.
Oh, yeah.
But that one I was glued to. I was like, this is nuts.
And that was the first time I saw actual Proud Boys in Minnesota too. So it was very interesting to me. You see them on the West Coast and the East Coast and stuff like that. And then that's when I started noticing them more in Minnesota area.
Were they wearing their uniform, or
Yeah,
how do you
black and yellow, and usually has little insignia here.
Yeah, it's the Fred Perry polo, but it was cold out, right? Like
not at that time. I think it was still probably August. I think maybe.
I've heard about Proud Boys in Minneapolis, but like generally when I've seen counter protesters in Minneapolis, it's always been, you know, like your average kind of like Trump supporter, Q person, but it sucks to hear that they're here and they're doing stuff. How many of them were there?
That time I think there was only like 5. I think the last time I saw them, there was a group of 30 at the state capitol.
Jeez. I
don't remember when that was. It was 2 months ago now, probably. They walked me and a few other media people back to our cars and took pictures of our vehicles, and They just didn't want us there at all.
Followed you there?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Because they had a previous engagement with another Andrew McCardo out there. And then I was hanging out with him and watching him, and they ended up coming up to us and starting getting an argument with him, and they walked us all back to our vehicles.
What do they not like about Mercado?
He turns away, because we don't have protection when we're out there. So when he's streaming, he has to turn away from, acts of violence and stuff like that and destruction. He shows it happen, aftermath, like, because we don't have the lawyers, we don't have the money protecting us and all that stuff. So we're independent. We got to look out for ourselves, number one. So like if he shows that, there's going to be retaliation against that.
Gotcha.
So like he veered away from people getting their tires slashed at the governor's mansion. So.
Oh, and the Proud Boys were like, oh, we would have liked to see who that was.
Yeah, we want, who it is and what it is. And, well, we knew who it was. Everybody knows what group it was. And that's all that matters to us. Like, we're telling the truth. Hey, it was this group. We're not going to show faces because we need to come out here to show you guys what's going on again. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to keep doing this.
And the Proud Boys think it's in their best interest to have the other thing happening?
Because we're not informants. We don't work for the police. It's not our job to show you that.
Yeah, that's just wild to me that they think that would be better for them.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I guess this was all before the 6th.
And
so
we did have a few Trump supporters come up to us and agree with us, saying, hey, I wouldn't have shown it either. It's in the best interest for everybody and for you not to show that.
Yeah, it's just weird. And that's something you got to like just keep in mind, like when you're generally at a protest, is like, keeping people's faces out of it or not making it like too much personally identify. I mean, there is just a level of ambiguity, or like if you're in public out there, like it is foolish to think that the police are not taking pictures.
So
they know who's out there.
I'm a journalist first. During the riots, I'm out there taking pictures. That's all I care about. I'm there taking pictures. What happens, happens. I won't post certain pictures. They'll go into a book maybe in 10 years. But I'm there. If your face is in there, you're not covered. It's a pandemic. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I think that because that was really big right in the beginning. And people were talking about like, oh, don't show people's faces, be considerate. And I do agree that you should like shy away from like, getting people doing crimes and, stuff like that. But at the same time, like if you're out there in public, like it should be known that people are looking at you. There are right wingers out there taking photographs of us. And like there were people writing lists of the people in Mankato on Parler, names of activists and media people. Like it is not the journalists who are live streaming like us who want positive change to happen, who are, outing you to the media. There are people who want this to happen. But I would like to see it. I haven't heard so much about that recently, and I would like to know what people's perspective are on that. So if you want to blow it up in the comments and tell us what you think about people's faces in videos, I'd like to know more about it.
No.
Like most protests are peaceful. Almost 95% of them are. Even at night when people say, oh, it's the violence going to come out. No, it's peaceful. You got one or two jerks that come out, but it's all nice.
I feel that too. Like you see people walking around in these things, and normally the thing that pushes them further is the presence of police.
Yeah.
Like when police start getting involved and it's like, no, you can't do this. It's like, well, why can't I walk down that street?
Right. And that's 100% it is. Like all protests have been peaceful that I've been to until the police show up and then start trying to push back from peaceful protests. Like you're pushing back peaceful people, you're going to aggravate a lot of people.
Certainly. And that is everyone. I hate saying things are both sides,
Yeah.
but I mean, nobody's really a fan of being told what to do for an arbitrary reason by the police. It just seems that right wingers cheer for it a little bit more.
Right.
They don't like it when it's them any better. I would wonder if the perspective of those Proud Boys who walked you back to your car would have changed a little bit with all this pressure coming to have them be recognized as a terrorist organization. I heard just on the news the other day that I think it was like some European thing had declared them a terrorist organization. Canada.
Yep.
And they were like pressuring the U.S. to do it too. And obviously that's a big thing because, these are, I'm pretty sure we know who's in the Proud Boys. Like it's not a big secret if you're a Proud Boy, which sucks to be you. Like, sorry, you're an idiot. But yeah. I don't.
Yeah, it kind of just all started as a meme page, I guess, and they
Yeah.
kind of blew it up from there. And
You see, I don't know. I don't know if I believe that though. Like, I think that a lot of these like real right wing groups, they hide behind that like layer of comedy. Like how far can we go and say this is just a joke? You know, like it's just believable till it happens. You know, and I mean, I don't have any problem with people showing up places open carry and, you know, dressing in ironic costumes with body armor. Like that's fun. Like I think most people who are doing open carry stuff are LARPing anyways. Like no one thinks that you really want to go do that.
I always call it redneck LARPing when I see them out there.
Yeah,
Just-
it is because no one believes you.
Yep.
You know, like we're not going like, I don't know. It certainly could happen too, but that is the thing. It's a joke until it's real, and then it's not a joke, and then it goes back to being a joke in court. And
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what to do about that at all. It's way too complicated of an issue for me. I'm just a measly live streamer.
I just want to show people what's going on and go home.
Well, you classified yourself as a photojournalist first. Like,
Yep.
You prefer photography to video work?
Yes, 100%. Video scares me.
Oh,
It's a lot of work for me. I just like to quickly edit my photos, get it out there, and live stream so we don't have to edit anything. And
like if you had like the perfect format for your output, like how would people consume your photography? You said a book or a page?
I would like to get a few books out there in the future.
And what would they look like? Just
Photos, and then with a few captions, not a whole, just tell them what's going on and kind of like what's going on in the world at the time on one page, and then just a photo on the next.
Have you been making moves to move towards that?
No, I'm kind of waiting to release a lot of my photos for quite a few years yet. So that way it's not so current. I don't know. I kind of like that platform instead.
yeah, I feel like having a little bit, especially if you're not going to editorialize it a lot, having a historical frame of reference for like what those photos means is kind of important. Because if you just put an image out there, different people will, interpret it very wildly, different ways. So maybe giving history a little time to breathe is a good option. Because if I had to go through and make a book of all the photos that we took last summer, like I would just want not most of them to not be. And we have thousands that we never released, like. How do you do both at the same time? I've seen kind of how you do it, where you kind of like keep the camera in a little sling and do all that. But how would you like to go about that?
I would kind of personally like a rig on my back for my live streams. That way that can just be up at all times. And then that way I can have both hands free for both my cameras. It would be ideal. But like right now I just have the live stream in one hand and then 2 cameras laying around and trying to grab them as I go.
Interesting. I saw a live streamer with that once. He had like a very long telescoping.
Yep. There's a few in the West Coast that do it now. Eric Greatwood, I think, started off in Portland. Yeah.
That's where it was. It was when they were at that federal building when they brought in all of those, I forget what agency it was. There was that like hyper militarized quickly. It was like what was it? It was that government agency that had been used to like protect monuments or whatever. And then they just shoved a bunch of ICE agents in there and like I can't remember.
Yeah, I do. They're kind of everywhere now in Portland and Seattle. It's just, it all kind of blends into the same protest eventually. To me.
I have no idea what's going on there anyways. Like,
the media doesn't cover it anymore. And it's chaos every night. It's
interesting.
The kids push forward and then the police push back, push forward, push back, and then everybody goes home. And then same thing happens next night.
Interesting.
I think they're all outside of ICE every single day now.
Well, I mean, as they should be. Like, I don't know electoral politics, but I am
right
for all of the immediate changes that have been signed upon. I would have liked to see a very big change in the way that we're holding people at the border. Like the quality of life for those people should have just instantly jumped if you want to be the human rights candidate, which I mean, I didn't believe any of that anyways, but here we are talking about something that's not that. Yeah. Gosh, what got you into photography anyways? How did this all start?
I was originally doing graffiti in New Ulm, on their legal wall. And a couple buddies like, take a picture of this, take a picture of this. And then started taking pictures of trains and stuff like that, and just became like, oh, can I get better light here? Can I get a better landscape here? And then my buddy passed away 2 years ago. I think it was yesterday now. Told me to get a DSLR and start doing this for professionally. I'm like, okay. And then a year later, I'm like, I'll buy one. You know, we'll just get this over with. And it kicked off from that. And then the Mankato Area Roller Derby asked me to come take pictures of their team. So I did that for a couple of years and just kind of blossomed from there.
That's cool. I never put together. You're from New Ulm?
Yep, originally.
That's where I'm from too. I didn't know that. Ugh.
Yeah, I just checked out the. Jacob took me by the graffiti wall the other. It was last summer.
Year.
The other year.
Sometimes there's amazing work there, and sometimes it's just random garbage.
It's a cool spot for anyone who
I
hasn't
really
seen
wish
it.
Mankato would have one.
Yeah, there should. We have so much wall. Like, I don't understand why we don't have one. It seems like the kind of thing that you can just snap your fingers and make it happen.
Yeah.
Like, someone just needs to.
Like, I don't understand why they didn't make that building out by Red Jacket Trail Park there, that big brown building they have out there. There's a lot of graffiti inside there, then they closed it all up and so you can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
We've been a nice location. Oh, everyone's away, and
Or just like one of the walls that's not visible from the highway.
Yeah.
You know, from the Mankato side, you can see it. There's all of that, river wall. I think that would be appropriate. But then again, it's like corrugated kind of. Is that the right word? Corrugated? Like corrugated cardboard has the. Yeah.
But when you get a legal wall, there's a lot of trouble that comes with it. You get a lot of people that just write horrible things on there. It's a lot of upkeep, and I understand it. It's a lot of people either drink down there and get in trouble. And
I suppose. But there aren't any places in Mankato that people are notorious for drinking at public.
No, you're right.
Introducing another one couldn't be a problem.
Right.
Oh. Yeah, landscapes too. Like that's a little bit odd. I hate landscape photography, but
love it.
you've mentioned that you like it. Like what draws you to that?
I like the quiet, the peacefulness, just going up by myself and sitting there for hours and just watching everything fold. Like just watching that sun come down, trying to find that perfect composition. I'm a loner. I like to be alone a lot. So like just going out and 4-hour drive and just sitting in one location for another 3 hours is joyful to me.
The way you make it sound good.
So like this weather right now, it's negative. So I love it because it's just quiet. Everything's so quiet out when it's so negative outside, temperature wise. It's so peaceful to me.
Well, where do you normally go to take some landscape?
Anywhere. Like you'll see me walking downtown Mankato here and find a nice landscape, or go to Red Jacket Trail Park. I went last weekend just for a walk. I try to find beautiful scenery in every location I go to.
Yeah, I noticed on your Instagram, I shared one to our story. It was like a photo of, that was just downtown here, right?
Yeah, there's quite a few of them from
Oh, there's one downtown.
Looking up at the Profinium building.
I was like, I think I know that, but I've never seen it looking so cool. And I guess that's the art of photography.
Yeah.
But then there's another one of the Hubbard House, or I think too, right?
Yep.
After,
So I love fresh snow on everything, so I make sure I try to get out every time there's fresh snow.
That's
So
awesome.
like no footprints in there at all, no car tracks even. It's so beautiful.
No. I saw there was one that was like an old piano in a field of sunflowers. Where was that?
That one was in Dayton, Minnesota. A guy runs it, Fish Sunflowers. He had like 20 of them pop up sunflower fields, and then he would put different props in northern Minnesota. So like I traveled to one almost every weekend for a while there.
Interesting. Oh, he just puts the props there for photographers.
There was boats in there, because there was a big photography thing, is senior pictures and couple, engagement photos and stuff like that. And I did my best landscapes I could do from there.
Oh, awesome. Normally, I think when someone's dumping a boat in a field, the first thing I don't think is landscape photography, but yeah, I suppose.
Well, when there's sunflowers all around it. I saw a bunch of photos from that place. I assume there's a couple, but yeah, it's really neat to see all those sunflowers just like stretching.
And I had some really good mornings going up there too, really good sunrises and sunsets later in the day. I got pretty lucky.
That's awesome. I every time I'm up for a sunrise, I'm always like, wow, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, right.
I should photograph this stuff more, but don't catch a lot
Yeah,
of them.
my 9 to 5 doesn't allow me to get many sunrises.
Yeah, if I'm up for a sunrise, I'm like, damn, I need to go to bed.
Maybe that's the way to do it. You just go out for a late night cruise, catch the sunrise.
That's what I usually did too. Is like it's a Friday morning, don't work that day. It's like I don't sleep Thursday night then because I get off at 3 a.m. So there's no point in sleeping. So I just drive wherever and hope for a good sunrise.
That's solid. There's something beautiful about the landscape around here, where you get a nice like foggy sunrise coming over the fields and the like forest with the barn. And I've seen a few. I've never captured one just like I imagine it, but I've seen a couple when I'm driving. It's very nice.
Yeah, I've taken my car down many gravel roads around here, and it's just pitch black when you leave, and then really sunny when you go home. And I love it. I love it so much.
That's cool. What's like a interesting place that photography has taken you? You wouldn't have expected it.
Like I got to photograph Vikings games really early on in my career. I was a horrible photographer, just horrible, but I made some good friends with the team. So got me in there and did training camp for 2 years straight. And
That's awesome. And that was the training camp still here?
yep, that wasn't training. I had an open invitation to come this year. Then COVID happened. So like couldn't really get passes in there.
Yeah, sports photography seems like it would be really difficult to me. Like faster than a walk, I'm probably not going to capture it.
Ideally, like when you're in that position, you just take the photos, get the composition and exposure right, and you hand it off to the editor. That would be great to me. But I got to sit home and just edit everything myself for hours on end.
Well, you probably get a lot of bad ones, so it's helpful. You can just delete most.
Right. It's a nice thing about digital photography is you can just delete, and it doesn't matter.
You ever shoot film?
I've tried. I can't get the hang of it.
No.
I like that feel of digital in your hand.
It's really nice. I was at the thrift shop a while. I've never told this story on the podcast, and I'll just throw it out quick. I was at the thrift shop a while ago, found a film camera, bought it for like $50, had a bunch of lenses and a couple rolls, and very quickly learned that you can't shoot low light and that turnaround is awful, especially when you're like shooting a concert and you don't want to wait 2 weeks and they turn out just awful anyways. But it did get me into the camera thing, so then I bought digital. And
yeah, the last year of Soundset, I went to go photograph. I just bought a bunch of disposable cameras and I went out there with that just to have fun. They ended up turning out pretty awesome.
That's cool.
I got them on a CD and then edited them all on my computer.
Yeah, that's the other thing that's kind of like odd about it. You just end up popping the CD. Like every time I've gotten any kind of prints, I've just immediately wanted to put them into my computer anyway. It's like, oh man, I just took the long road.
Right.
Like, should have just.
Yeah, I think I waited like 4 weeks for that CD to come in, and I'm like, well, I have all my Soundset photos on my website, and they have them now. Like, I'm just waiting for them, and that's why I like digital.
Yeah, no, it's really nice to be able to. Well, and I guess the other side of that is it's nice to have 30, and then you get what you get, and so you get some like nice imperfections that you might edit out in digital but make it through in film. But it's whatever.
I mean, people clearly like it. Every time we show up, there's the news guy around here who runs around with a 35mm camera too.
Yeah, he just started doing that. There's someone else too. Do you know the other guy who's does that? He's got
he's an MSU student.
Mansour.
Yeah, he's cool. He's got a film camera he always shoots.
Yeah,
he's got some really nice ones of protests too, and just
I really enjoy his work
stuff. It's cool. I've been able to meet a lot of the like photographers and media personnel around here this last summer.
So many dope independent photojournalists around Minnesota in general. Like going up to the cities every weekend, you just meet these so amazing photographers. I love it.
That's really cool. It's been a really interesting way of connecting with people with the like kind of chaos that's been happening recently, where you've got unusual circumstances that bring people together.
Right.
But sort of fun in a way.
Well, you got any more pressing stuff, or you guys want to start wrapping it up? Any plugs for the website?
My website's trash. Don't go there. I haven't touched it in like 3 years. But just hit me up on Facebook anytime you got something going on that I can show up for.
Very cool.
Yeah. How do you source gigs? You just watching the news and
Yeah, I belong to a lot of groups that post things, and so like I'll just like there was 4 events today that I possibly could have gone to, but I think a lot of them were postponed as well for the weather. But like, so I'm taking this weekend off. Next weekend, there's an event up by Duluth for like racing on skates. I don't remember, skate cross or something like that.
Oh, like when they're like
that's cool.
ice skating through the woods.
Yeah.
Or is it through the
like,
city one?
It's like how Red Bull was in
Crashed Ice.
Yeah, but they changed their names. Now it's something else. And
I've always wanted to ride that course.
It was insane. I went there a couple of years ago in St. Paul. It was so cool.
Looks scary.
That does sound cool.
But I think next major protest would be Derek Chauvin's court case on March 8th. Be up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's going to be wild. I mean, they're having a big conversation about, you know, whether or not the city was going to fork out extra money for the police presence there. And
I think there's the Senate's debating on it right now, actually, as we speak.
More to follow.
Well, thank you very much for joining us on the podcast, and thank you for all the work you do for Mankato and surrounding areas. I know that a lot of people really appreciate that.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah.